Hello and welcome to This Is Your Life. In there, in the Esso Private Cinema, an audience has been watching a film in which one of them figures prominently. He's not a film star, but he is one of the best-known faces in the world. Now, in a moment, they're expecting a presentation to be made to him, but they're not expecting this extra presentation. So watch out for some surprise faces when I get in there.
Now, in recognition of your benefit year, Bobby, and also of my own company's brief and slight association with that particular match, I'd like to ask you on behalf of your friends in Esso to accept this little salver, which comes to you with the best wishes of ourselves to you and Mrs. Moore for a long, happy and more successful future than the present.
Bobby, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Biggs, that's one presentation. I hope you'll stand by for another, because Bobby Moore, OBE, captain of England's World Cup team, tonight, this is your life. Number one fan here, Nina. We want you all to come, and all your West Ham colleagues and wives. We've got cars and we've got police escorts back to Thames studio, so you're ready to go for a lot more surprises. Go this way.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose, Bobby, you might think that we could have chosen a better week to say This Is Your Life. It's not exactly the happiest week in West Ham's history.
You can say that again, Eamon, but nevertheless, it's all part and parcel of the job, and we have to take the rough with the smooth.
Well, rough and smooth. In the past 12 years, Bobby, you've achieved a unique place in football history by captaining the first England team ever to win the World Cup. For on that never-to-be-forgotten day in 1966 at Wembley, it was Bobby Moore who carried off the trophy. Bobby, did such a moment ever figure in your schoolboy dreams?
I think it's one of the things that you can always try and dream about, Eamon, but you never really think that these sort of dreams can come true. When you first go to Wembley to see the England team play, you think, I just love the chance to play on the pitch, let alone, you know, be part and parcel of a success like that. But when it comes along naturally, it's something you always remember.
But we know that the seeds of your success were sown even before you reached school age. In fact, just a few months after you were born, Robert Frederick Moore in Upney Hospital, Barking, Essex, on April the 12th, 1941. In those wartime days, you were taken by your parents to see your first football match as a baby in a pram. Then your father, a railway worker, and your mother were supporters of the amateur side Barking. Today, of course, they're West Ham, England, and Bobby Moore fans. And here they are, your mum and dad, Bob and Doris Moore. Mrs. Moore, tell me, was baby Bobby always welcome at the games you took him to watch?
Well, I remember on one occasion when I took him to Ilford to watch Barking play Romford in the Essex Senior Cup final, and that's where Bobby really lost out.
How?
Well, we got talking to some people next to us and they kept giving Bobby sweets.
But how did he lose out?
Well, after they found out we were Barking supporters, they stopped giving him any more sweets.
And I gather, Mr. Moore, that later on he gained a lot of experience through playing football against older boys. Was that because he was so good?
Well, no, I don't think so, Eamon. One lad called for him one evening, a bit on the big side, and I suggested to him that he was a bit of a big boy to be playing with Bobby, and he said, well, he was the only one that's got a ball.
But he also had a pretty impressive kit, hadn't he?
Oh, yes, Mum was very particular about that. In fact, she was so keen on him looking just so for the games that every Friday night at home it was quite a ritual.
Don't you dare.
You don't like me saying about this, but while I was cleaning the boots, he used to even go to the trouble of washing and ironing his football laces.
Ironing his laces?
Yes.
Oh, God. Well, now, I know, Tina, that you and Bobby have 2 children, Roberta, who's 5, and 2-year-old Dean. And we can see from this picture here that Dean is already following in Dad's footsteps. I must say the laces in those boots look very white. Does that mean you go through the ironing act, Tina, as well?
Well, no, I'm afraid I don't, but those in particular were new. But I must say that Dean insists that he goes to see Daddy play football. He does enjoy it very much.
I know that. And something you don't know, Bobby, but the other week here, we went along as well to West Ham, and without them knowing, found out just how Dean and Roberta react when they watch Dad on the football pitch. Well, now, I know that you've given them special permission with babysitter to stay up, so I want to say thank you, Roberta and Dean, and stay watching. I only hope that the babysitter keeps as close an eye on the children as, or more closer eye than on the television set, because I know that the last set you had disappeared under rather strange circumstances.
Not half it didn't, and I was the one with a hell of a lot of explaining to do.
Yes, a good friend of yours and a West Ham supporter for 26 years, actor and singer Kenny Lynch. Kenny, would you mind explaining to us what happened to this television set?
Well, you see, Eamon, during the week beside being in show business, I run a flooring company, you see, and Bobby being a very benevolent fellow, and when I'm out of work, he gives me some work, you see. So one day he says to me, would you like to come down and do my kitchen, you see? So I sent a couple of our floor layers along there to do the kitchen, and we made a really marvellous job of the floor.
Yeah, but what about the television set?
Oh, you still remember that? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what happened. The lads were there working, and the fella came along. We knew it was a good TV set, a new one, because Bobby had told us. And this fella came along and said he'd like to look at the television because it was on the brink and all that, and said he had to do something. Anyway, he said he had to go back to the shop, you see. Yeah. So my 2 lads, being benevolent fellas as well, and tops, said, we'll give you a hand with it. So they lifted it up for him, put it in the car, but he was a burglar.
Thank you, Kenny Lynch. Well done. Kenny wasn't the only one who was embarrassed, I gather, Bob, because that set wasn't really yours to lose, was it?
Not to begin with, no.
When you were a youngster, Bobby, you spent all your time playing games, but I gather it's about this time that your physique earned you a nickname. Do you remember what it was?
Can I say it here?
Yes.
Or dare I? Yeah, it's Tubby.
Tubby.
Tubby and Fatso.
Tubby and Fatso, yes. That's right, we got a picture of you somewhere here of Tubby or Fatso playing with Leighton School's district team.
The hoops made me look bigger.
But soccer's not your only love, Bobby. You also play cricket, and in 1956 you were chosen to captain the South of England schoolboys team in a match against the North of England schoolboys in Lancashire. There you played against another Tubby youngster who became one of the biggest names in cricket. Today he's in Australia where he went to watch England play, but before leaving he went back to the scene of that first meeting, shall we say, to add a little weight to our argument.
Hello, Eamon. Hello, Bob.
Yes, former Northampton England star Colin Milburn.
From freezing cold Oldham, Lancashire, Bobby Moore, this is your past. Well, at last I can prove it, mate. I've got the scorebook here to prove that it actually happened. Moore or Court Milburn, 18. I'm not sure when it was. I think it was about 1955, 56. We were both only about 14. And little did I realise that it was the same Bobby Moore who'd be playing football for England and captaining in the World Cup. But anyway, it's a bit different weather to the last time we were here. It absolutely poured down with rain, the ground was flooded and the game had to be abandoned. I'll never forget, afterwards we went to the pictures. When we were in the pictures, the ice cream girl came round, and I thought you might hold a grudge because I caught you out. But fortunately for me you didn't, and you even offered to buy the ice creams, and you bought me one. I didn't dare refuse it, although I should have done, I think, at that time, because I was just beginning to put on weight. But no doubt I'll see you when I get back, and I might even let you buy me a drink this time instead of an ice cream.
Thank you, Colin Milburn. Who knows, Bobby, you might have made a name for yourself in cricket, because later you were offered the chance to become a county cricketer with Essex. You turned it down because your heart is set on football. But for a time it seems your hopes will never be realised. While many of your friends were signed on by professional clubs, you were overlooked. Then one day, after trials with Leighton Boys' team, you're changing in classroom 29 at Norlington Road School. You're all set to go home.
Bobby Moore, I'd like a word with you before you go home, please.
Those were the words that changed the entire course of your life. The man who spoke them was the teacher in charge of that team. Now he's assistant head of Stansted College in Quebec, Canada, and it's from there we've flown him 3,000 miles to be here tonight. The man who discovered Bobby Moore, Tom Russell. Tell me, Tom, what did you tell Bobby after that training session?
I think I told him that I thought he ought to come to West Ham to get some professional training, and that I'd arrange it for him and recommend him to the club, but he better go home and ask Mum and Dad.
And what happened next?
Well, sure, he came back and wanted to come, obviously, and during the time he was training with us, he was playing with our junior team, and Wally and Jack, way out there somewhere, I think.
Yes, Wally St. Pierre and Jack Turner there.
They were keeping a watchful eye on him as representatives of the club, and eventually signed professional at £7 a week, Bob?
Well, we know he's worth a good deal more now, and he's obviously lived up to your expectations, Tom. But did you think in those days that he would achieve so much?
I don't think anyone could have done, Eamon, because he was a bit on the tubby side and perhaps a wee bit slow.
So what was it that made him into such a great player?
Well, it's very simple, really. It's Bobby's dedication to the game, hard work and enthusiasm, and I've always said that one person who made Bobby Moore was Bobby Moore himself.
Thank you, Tom Russell. Hard work and dedication pay off. The tubby boy turns into a sleek young professional, collecting a host of England youth and young England caps. He also plays for the England under-23 side, and at the age of 21 makes his first appearance in the full England side. The same year, 1962, you married Tina at St Clement's Church, Ilford. Was it one of those romantic first meetings, Tina?
Not really. It was on the floor of the local palais.
Had he been knocked out by this devastating blonde?
Well, not quite. Bobby and I were both with rather short people, and because I'm quite tall, he thought that I would have towered above his friend. So he nominated to dance with me, and that's what he says to me anyway.
That's his story, yes. Anyhow, soon Bobby Moore is impressing on the international soccer field. At the age of 22, he's England's youngest ever captain. And in 1964, he's Footballer of the Year and leading West Ham to victory in the FA Cup final. The following year, West Ham are back at Wembley again, this time to take the European Cup Winners' Cup. And again, Bobby is right there in the middle of all the great excitement.
Bobby Moore placed the kick well. And Seeley scored again. What a night for West Ham as Bobby Moore received the trophy from the President of the European Union of Football Association. The whole country is...
It's a great achievement, but it's in 1966 that Bobby reaches the pinnacle of his career. He leads England to victory over West Germany in the World Cup final. And there were the 4 goals that gave that victory to you and to the team that win. And your West Ham teammate, Jeff Hurst, who's here, of course, should enjoy these, because here comes the first of the goals that the 3 goals he scored. Now it's the turn of Martin Peters for the second. And on to Jeff again with 2 more sensational goals to complete his hat-trick and clinch the victory. It's all over, and again Bobby Moore is first up those steps, leading his team to meet the Queen. And at last, your hands are on the Jules Rimet trophy. The smile on your face as you received that trophy typified the feelings of football fans all over Britain. But having looked a little more closely at that film, I have a feeling that the normally ice-cool Bobby faced a very awkward moment just before he picked up the cup. What was the problem you faced, Bobby?
Well, I think it was a little bit perturbed. I saw the Queen about to present the trophy in a pair of white gloves, and prior to the game and during part of the game it had been raining very, very heavily and the pitch was quite wet. And one of my first thoughts, I can remember now, I said to Tina afterwards, I was petrified of making the white gloves dirty, so it was wipe the hand.
Let's wait now. Let's have a look at that film again to see how he solved that problem.
That's because when I go home I have to take my shoes off.
Yes, there you are. Well, you saved the Queen's gloves and not the balustrade there. Well, a few months later, this time having more time to prepare yourself, you're in the company of the Queen again when she awards you the OBE. It rounded off a remarkable year in which it also been nominated Player of Players, World Cup Player of the Tournament, Gallopole Personality of the Year, Sportsman of the Year, as well as being made a Freeman of the City of London. And by now, the chubby youngster from Barking is being sought after to promote businesses, make commercials and model clothes. But you also take on other work for nothing. And there's one lady who in particular is grateful for your help in this direction. She is head of the Trust for Thalidomide Children. She wanted to come here tonight to say thank you, Bobby Moore. So here she is, Lady Haw. Now tell us, Lady Haw, what did Bobby do to impress you so much?
Well, I think the first thing was that he had been interested in the work we were doing, and then very shortly before he was going to Mexico, we suddenly felt how marvellous it would be if he could possibly meet some of our children who are so madly keen on football, and such a fan of his too, I must say, and even be filmed with him. And so we approached him, and he said yes. And I think it was only about 3 days before he went to Mexico that he spent a whole day at my house in the garden filming with the children. And I think the thing that, of course, was amazing to us was the children. He won them, absolutely. He won their hearts, and they had the day of their lives. But also for us, the way you came across with the children was something we'll never forget.
We've got just a little piece of that film and see just how happy, in fact, he did make those children on that particular day. If you take a look at this screen here, you'll see it.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Who's your favourite footballer, Tony?
You.
Yeah.
Peter Bonetti.
You like Peter Bonetti?
Yeah.
He's a goalkeeper.
Gordon Banks. Yeah, I like Gordon Banks.
Is he your favourite?
I have got two favourites. That's you, and was it Peter Bonetti? Obviously. Who do you support?
Who do I support?
Yeah.
My wife and kids. Who else do you think I support?
Well, now you see, really, how very, very glad I am to have had the chance of coming and seeing you here tonight and greeting you.
That's very
Thank you,
kind
Lady
of you.
Haw. My thank you. I was surprised to hear you say that, in fact, that's the first time you've seen it yourself.
Yes, we've heard a great deal about it, Eamon, but unfortunately, I haven't really had a great deal of time just lately to be able to see it. But I'm very glad to see just that small snippet.
It is fantastic to see how keen those
I must say,
children are.
I
It's
was
very touching.
very surprised when I was there, and I enjoyed it a great deal, and I only hope that it helped the children in some way.
No, I'm certain it will. Well, the story of your life, Bobby, would not be complete, of course, without the appearance of someone with whom you've struck up a now famous professional relationship. For when people look back on England's World Cup win, two names will always be linked together, yours and that of the man who guided the team to success. Now, he couldn't be with us tonight, but here is a tribute from the man I'm talking about, Sir Alf Ramsey.
Hello, Bobby. Congratulations on your selection for this programme. I'm sure that no footballer throughout the world ever deserved it more. We think in terms of your career from the time that we first met in 1963. And during the past 7 years, we've had a very happy and successful association. But none more important than the winning of the World Cup in 1966. we were both very, very proud of the England team's achievements. One of the most important things I will remember about you is your episode in Colombia, in Bogota, when under tremendous pressures, you survived not only as a man, but also as an outstanding player in the World Cup in Mexico. I think as the England team manager at that time, I was pleased that if anyone had to be subjected to this sort of pressure, it was you. The best of luck to you, Bobby.
Thank you, Sir Alf Ramsey. Well, that incident in Bogota, as Sir Alf has said, was one that put you under tremendous strain. You were accused of stealing a gold bracelet, and with the World Cup only days away, you're separated from your teammates to face hours of interrogation. For 4 days, you're confined to the home of a Colombian football official before being allowed to leave for Mexico, where you spend a night at the home of a British diplomat. And it's here that someone who is so anxious to see you that he creeps around the back of the house, climbs up a wall, jumps down to a roof, and sneaks in through the servants' quarters. Fortunately, he didn't have to do that tonight. Your former England roommate, now West Ham player, Jimmy Greaves. Tell me, Jimmy, why did you have to go to such lengths to see Bobby?
Well, basically, Eamon, he, as you know, he's a big mate of mine, and I'd gone 16,000 miles driving a car, but when we arrived at this house with a friend of ours, Lou Wade, who is a West Ham joke, that is a West Ham. The house was completely surrounded by pressmen, television cameras, this, that, the other, and I thought, well, here am I, I've come 16,000 miles, I want to see my mate, I've got to get in somehow, and I literally had to climb a wall and jump down into the sort of back garden and creep along the side and get in to see him.
Was he pleased to see you?
I think he was. When I got into the house, he was on his own, and of course I went up, did the usual sort of greetings that Bob and I do, and of course we were talking, and then a woman came in the room who was the sort of civil servant wife, and proceeded to throw me out.
Couldn't Bobby help?
Well, he couldn't actually, because although he pleaded, this woman insisted that the house was closed to all visitors. At any rate, in the end, what she actually did, she made me go out of the front door, knock on the front door, present myself as Jim Greaves, a teammate of Bob Moore's, and she let me in the end, and this is what happened.
Thank you, Jimmy Greaves. It's a great story.
Thank you.
Thanks. Well, now, Bobby, we felt we couldn't possibly end our story without involving the other men who helped achieve that World Cup victory, and they all wanted to be here tonight, but injuries or training kept 3 of them away. But here are George Cohen, Ray Wilson, Nobby Stiles, Roger Hunt, Bobby Charlton, Martin Peters, and last but not least, the scorer of those 3 glorious goals just in our audience, Jeff Hurst. Thank you, boys. Now, but I want you to hold on 1 minute, because before we end, I'd like to make one more brief mention of Bogota. As we said, Bobby, you spent 4 worrying days there, confined to the home of a Colombian football official. It was he who looked after you in those 4 days and became a great friend and comforter. Now, you two made a very great impression on him, so much so that he jumped at the chance of seeing you again. So here he is from more than 6,000 miles away, Bogota, Colombia, halfway around the world, Dr. Alfonso Sr. I know this was a very trying time for both of you. Will you please tell us about it?
Those 4 days were terrible for me. The telephone was ringing all the time. People were coming to my house to ask for Bobby author.
His autograph, yes.
Even that detective wasn't it, but I was happy to do all this for Bobby Moore.
Well, even the detectives were looking for the autograph, and signing books is something to which Bobby is now accustomed. But here's when you don't have to sign or hand back, because Bobby Moore, this is your life.